Welcome back to the Isabelle Wellman podcast. Thank you for tuning in and joining me today. I have been a day late the last couple weeks, so thank you for hanging in there with me. I have no other excuse other than that I have not been prioritizing anything digital at all. I have not been on Instagram. I have not been on the TikTok. I've not been dealing with my newsletter. I've not been planning the podcast. I have been living in the real world and constructing my life to fit what I wish to create. And the more time I spend working with my hands and sharing my knowledge with people in real time, the more I'm losing interest in this digital field. And not to say that I'm going to end the podcast or completely ex-nay my social medias. No, I thoroughly do enjoy sharing and talking and writing stories for everyone to connect to and connect with. And so I'm personally navigating the waters of my relationship with technology in a new way, not just in the way of I am frustrated, I'm overwhelmed, I want to be on this thing all the time because I'm trying to make something out of nothing and I want people to buy this thing or interact with that photo or take that poll or blah blah blah. And I'm just not there. I'm not there, and it feels so good to not be there cuz that's not where I will make an impact. I think YouTube and this podcast are the biggest things I'm going to be doing digitally. Of course, my website. And yes, the fun shares on Instagram and TikTok. And there is this little voice inside me that's like, make the post, create the Canva, spend your whole day creating so it's done for the month, and then schedule it all and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, I could do that. But every time I write it down on my to-do list, I skip over it because I don't want to go there. And I feel like this is a big release for me in my life during this time. I have been shifting so much since the total new moon total solar eclipse we had with the new moon in Taurus, just this last new moon. And I'm not sorry. I love it. I love being here now. I love waking up and taking my sweet time, not being on my phone, just listening to Abraham Hicks or listening to something soothing and inspirational, and then sitting in meditation for an hour and a half, and knowing that I am accomplishing more in that hour, that I'm sitting in stillness, meeting myself in my own world, in my own head, than spewing off these words on social media. I don't think y'all miss me there. And if you do, let me know. Because honestly, that's another big part of it. I lost so much traction on there since moving away from Alaska because I took a hot hiatus off of socials for a little while. And I really didn't regain back the interaction with people. And a part of me felt really upset and sad about that. Another part of me felt free. And that's going to be a big, big, big topic around today's astrological event that we're going to dive into. So today we will be talking about the full moon total lunar eclipse in Scorpio. That's a mouthful. And I will be going into what makes it an eclipse. What are the themes? What should we be looking out for? Yin and yang energy. And then I want to guide us through a meditation and close the space. So to properly open the space, I welcome you in with a lot of love and warmth for wherever you are at in your own personal journey. Take a big inhale into the body. Expand the belly. Hold at the top. When you're ready, exhale. Welcome in your breath with awareness. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause. Feel that air inside of you. And then release whatever is not serving you, whatever is feeling stagnant within you in that exhale. And let it be 1 second longer than the inhale. So if you inhaled for 5, you exhale for 6. Inhale for 6, exhale for 7. If you're driving, please do not close your eyes. But if you are capable and in a safe space, I invite you to join me in closing your eyes, grounding down into this moment. If any yawns or shivers or itches come up for you, simply witness them. Allow any movement that is small and gentle into the body if it is feeling like it needs to come through. And simply breathe. In today's conversation, I'm going to be asking you to hold off on trying to figure out all of your problems. I'm going to ask you to use your adventurer's mind and to wander around the themes that are popping up for you. Wander around looking and observing from an outsider's perspective your relationships with yourself, the loved ones, with your child, with your dog, with your boss, with how you treat yourself, with how you treat people you do not know. I'm going to ask you, how is your relationship with money and scarcity mindset or abundant mindset? I'm going to ask you what you think about taboo subjects, and if you can explore exactly what your heart is feeling without making any judgments, without needing to figure it all out, without needing to fix anything. Because you are where you are, and eclipses are the worst time to process emotions, period. Don't do it. This is simply a release. It's orgasmic. Think about the last time you had an orgasm. Hopefully it was yesterday, today, recently, because you're not trying to figure out how to orgasm when you are feeling that amount of pleasure. It comes natural. I'm sure all you're absorbed in is either one, getting lost in the extraterrestrial sauce of life, going into other dimensions, or you are using it as a self-care practice, mirror work, perhaps, and you are building the bridge back to you and your sovereign power. I will simplify sovereign as, in my own description, your total ultimate truth, your total and ultimate authentic authentic personality and expression, and what you wish to experience, and how you are operating in ways that are in alignment with that experience, with that expression. So continue to inhale and exhale, grounding into the body. Set an intention for this podcast, maybe about something I've already said, maybe about something I have not said. maybe about something completely different than anything we're talking about right now. Tune in with you. If there's anything I want to be remembered for in this lifetime, it is that I was the person who encouraged other people to remember that they have total awareness and all of the answers of what they need, want, and desire in every moment of their life. I do not believe "I don't know" is an adequate response. I actually am not a fan of that answer. So wherever you're at, take a few more moments to be in this space. And whenever you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes and come back to the present moment. At your own pace, you can stay here for as long as you'd like, even if it's for the entire podcast. Whatever floats your boat. And I'm going to share my screen for anyone looking and listening on YouTube, so that you can see everything on the chart, even though I'm sometimes too animated with my hands and I don't necessarily point to what I'm talking about. But here we are, full moon, total eclipse, Scorpio. So what makes this a lunar eclipse? Well, a lunar eclipse is the full moon because it's lunar, the moon is full, and a new moon is a solar eclipse because you can't see the moon. It's all about a dark sky. So that is why it is a total lunar versus solar. And what makes this an eclipse is that it is very close to the nodal axis. So when we had the last new moon in Taurus, the solar eclipse, we were talking more about the north node being close to the sun and close to the moon. Close to the sun. Whereas the moon is closer to the south node now with this lunar eclipse. So we're on the opposite end. So themes that we are looking for, because it's the moon, are emotions, feeling. It's all about the feeling body. And what we're looking at are Scorpio themes. So things like surrendering, infinite energy, all in or all out mentality, high intensity, intricate, deep emotion. It can be murky. It can be a little more reserved in how safe it feels at first. It's very mysterious energy at first. It can walk this line of taboo subjects, going back and forth, or really heavy in one direction, really heavy in the other. It can be about money. And that is the gist of that energy. Needless to say, it's alchemy. This is the alchemist energy that we're dealing with. And when we're talking about the south node, north node being our way, where we're headed, how we're leading our lives, that might not always feel comfortable because it is new or an experience we've not embarked on before. Versus the south node, which is comfort. We've done it a million times. We know the resolution to the problem. We know it's a tried and true answer that we are going to get by taking said actions in said form or said manner. It is very predictable energy, and it's where we go when we need to feel safe, quote unquote. And not safe in like a you're in danger, but it's not challenging you to grow, because we know that when we're not undergoing a little bit of resistance, a little bit of pain, we're not building our resilience, and we are not becoming more. We are not growing. We're not expanding. We're shrinking. And when it comes to full moons, so the new moon is where typically, not during the eclipse whatsoever, but for all the other ones that are just regular old new moons and full moons, we manifest, we set intentions and goals, so to say, with the new moon. And the full moon, we are celebrating. We're celebrating how much closer we are to that said thing or the completion of said thing. So this is a big release period. And something that really came to me heavily was, so we're dealing with a lot of yin and yang. So yin is more feminine energy, yang is more masculine energy. And in the zodiac, Taurus is a feminine energy, much more feminine. And Scorpio, it is a more masculine energy. Although it's a water sign, it is insanely masculine because it is so intense. It's all in or all out. It's leading the way. It is very striking. And typically these people have a very dynamic nature to them. When you do meet Scorpionic people, there's depth to these people. Sometimes depth that is not so great because it might be shady or untrustworthy or compulsively manipulative or lying, or it's very sovereign in the sense of, hey, this is my authentic truth. I believe in this. You might not believe in it. I don't care. I'm still going to advocate and fight for this and make my point and believe in it and support it. It's a very dedicated energy. So the big theme is, what are you releasing that has been comfortable for you, that you no longer need? What is the crutch that you're ready to put in the closet because your ankle healed 3 months ago? You just been using it as a little attention grabber. You just want a little attention, or you want people to feel sorry for you, or this, that, and the other thing. What is it that you can now carry out on your own? You do not need to seek this externally. It's all internal. So Sun in Taurus, it is also conjunct Uranus and Mercury. So these are two very mental planets, and they're all opposing the moon. So what I want to say about Uranus and Mercury, although they're both mental, they're different. So Mercury is more of our everyday communication, timing, technology, how we are interacting with people around us, our brilliance, how we are either staying on track or how fast we're moving, how we are digesting. Whereas Uranus, it's more rebellious. It's a little bit more abrupt. It's eruptive. It's like a volcano. It releases its lava and it changes the scenery. It changes how the mountain was holding itself before the eruption. And it really is this foolish energy in my eyes. It's like, haha, I did that. Sucks to suck. And it's just laughing at you. It's making fun of you. And this can be the difference between being in fight or flight mode or rest and relaxation. So we're really dealing with this yin and yang, because yin, like I said, it is female. Yang, it is masculine for the most part. And when it comes to the south and north node energy, we're really looking at, all right, where have I been digressing from the action steps that are taking me where I want and leaning too far into the comfort zone? And how am I taking responsibility? Because Taurus, it's responsible. That's where the north node is. And we want to lean more into the north node. So how are we being a little bit slower in our approach? How are we holding ourselves in the rhythm of life? How are we taking the time to feel the sensations of what's going on around us? Versus the North Node or the South Node in that and this South Node energy being in Scorpio, it's really looking at, hey, what did I think was a great idea before because it felt comfortable or it was helping me feel safer in my body, or like I had my life together, or that I felt worthy, when really subconsciously maybe those are all lies to yourself, and that by saying yes to this thing back then was a cover up or a way to deflect from the actual emotions. And so now you have this band-aid over the cut, and instead of it healing, it's a little bit infected. And so these are the times when we are conversing with people we love, we might not be hearing the things we want to hear because they see it and feel it in a different way, especially if these are the people you absolutely trust and have your back and are not trying to manipulate you or undermine you, but solely are looking out for you. These are your soul people, your soul tribe, not just the random naysayers, right? And when these people are communicating what they're seeing from this outside perspective, could you, instead of bulldozering them with your opinions and feeling angry at them and upset with them and spitting this venom, like really stabbing them with that scorpion tail, could you sit back and breathe and go, "Ugh," and let out a noise and maybe explore, like, hey, this person I love and I trust, what are they seeing that I'm not? You have the answer. No one else outside you does, but the people we love and we know are true to us, that are our soul family, tribe, they are our mirrors. They're reflecting back to us exactly what we need to see and hear, or maybe what we're not seeing and hearing because we're so absorbed in our little world, in our little bubble, floating in space. And so this isn't going to feel like the happiest of times. This can feel like, oh my gosh, really? Why I'm going to feel so sad and mad and upset and angry? La 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 la. And this is a really great time for it because we do have Mercury in retrograde. So, like I said, Mercury, it deals with the mind, it deals with how we communicate, how our mental processes work throughout the day. And something that my teacher says, Deborah Silverman, is that there's gremlins upstairs, and the gremlins, they don't pay rent. So why do they get so much time in your head to speak and be heard? I mean, if you were paying a comedian to come in and lighten it up in your head, I think they would deserve all the money, all the big bucks, because they're making you feel good. And we live in a world based on feelings. The world itself, yes, we call it Earth, but our planet, I believe, is 80% water. If you've seen those space photos of Earth, it's mostly blue. We're a very emotionally driven planet. And the further we get from remembering, remember Mercury in retrograde is all about the re's. We're remembering, redefining, revigorating, all of the re's, all of the re's. And it's up to you to go on that quest to figure out what exactly it is in your life that you need to go back and reevaluate and go, is this actually going to be what I want 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 30 years from now? We cannot live in this world where we think for tomorrow only. We must be thinking decades in the future. Really, truly. We have Pluto retrograde as well. It's going back into Capricorn. It's at 0 degrees of, let me just make sure I'm of Aquarius. So it's about to get back in Capricorn. And we're going to see a lot more destruction. revolution, evolution come to systems and structures that are old and not helping us out anymore. Things that need to be put back together. So we're going to see more crumbling before we see more building. And this is the wake-up call. This is a, hey, if humans can get on board with this, we're going to survive with this evolution. If we can't, Earth is going to be fine, but our species might not. And that's a much bigger subject. So I'm going to go back to the main point here. So with this yin and yang energy, I want to give you examples for anyone out there who doesn't know yin and yang. So this is traditional Chinese culture, and it comes from the movement of Tai Chi and the Tao, which is a book by Lao Tzu, which actually means old man, because it's such an old scripture that they're not sure who wrote it. So I think that's a very peculiar thing to tune into. So yin, like I've said, is female. And this is anabolic. So repair, wet, seed, night, cooling, slower, parasympathetic, which is rest and relax, unity, nurture, accumulating, so gathering, water, earth, working in, going in, understanding ourselves, create, desire, nature, spirituality as a whole, and silence, where yang is catabolic, which is tissue destruction in the body. It is dry, it's sprout, day, warming, faster, sympathetic, which is fight or flight, division, provoke, spending energy, spending time, spending money, air, fire, work out. We're working outside of ourselves. Transform, will, industry, which is all of this material world that we've built, science, language, and to live a harmonious life, the Tao is all about living each side equally at the same time, or knowing, hey, I just worked out at the gym, now I need to go work in, whether that is nourishing the body with protein and healthy fats and vegetables so that it can replenish itself and come into a state of homeostasis, of pure balance. And we're in a time which is so immaculate and so prosperous if we can realize, hey, I must get into a rhythm with my life, and I must see the bigger picture for where I'm going. The more that you can do with your hands, like if you can work with your hands at all, you're going to get reconnected to the earth and to what's around us in the physical plane. I mean, in my belief, we all came down here. We knew all this information, but we signed the contract and we plopped down here thinking, all right, I'm going to forget everything I know. I'm going to come down as a human. I'm going to live this life experience. And along the way, I'm either going to remember or I'm going to resist remembering. I'm going to do everything in my power not to remember because I don't even know what I'm trying to remember. So along the way of your path, you're going to have experiences happen to you that are either going to break you open or break you down. Break you open in the sense of awakening you to different perspectives, different ways of being and operating, the larger picture at scale that we are one with nature, the Netaru, that there is not just a history, there is also a her story that has been destroyed by the patriarchy so that the female and feminine essence did not have any say-so in moving forward in this world, which is, we're in this rebirthing of that currently, Whereas when we're breaking down, we live a very certain way. We listen to everything we're told to do. We suffer. We think working harder is smarter. We think that you have to bust your ass in order to have greatness. You have all these conditions that you live by that make life really jagged and difficult, needless to say. So we are in this dynamic of balance of how can we take responsibility for our lives and also feel immense joy for our lives? How can we come together while operating in our own individual and unique ways because we have our own gifts? You cannot be anyone else outside of you, and comparing ourselves is such a great way for you to recognize, hey, am I living me, or am I trying to live the role of somebody outside of me because I think that they have it all, quote unquote, and that if I act like them, I'm also going to, quote unquote, have it all, when that is not how it works. And so we go slow and we move like a sloth on a tree branch, one claw moving ever so slightly at a time, so that we do not erupt and lose ourselves in the chaos of the world. So let me gather my thoughts before I move on here, just to make sure I wrote down notes. So I want to make sure I cover everything. So Sun here in Taurus, Uranus, Mercury, opposite is the moon. We also have North Node right here in Taurus. So down here, it would be in Scorpio for the South Node. And I really want to emphasize, like I said earlier, that this is a stamp in our lives as a point of ending, of finalizing, of cutting the cord, tying the knot, burning the end so it stays together. And it is the themes that I've mentioned earlier. So perhaps it's in relationships, perhaps it's with money, perhaps it's with your mindset, perhaps it's with your responsibility and your ability to respond to the world around you. Some really helpful tools that I hope you utilize are meditation, strenuous exercise, journaling, or a rage practice. And if you can, I encourage you to find and research and look up if there are any Vipassana meditation practices that's held within a community container near you. Vipassana is silent meditation, but it's where you focus on one part of the body, and eventually you go from one part, typically between the lip and the nose, that little indent, and you hold your focus there for an hour. You do not move, you do not break your concentration or your focus. And then you eventually move from doing a body scan from head all the way down your body to your feet, and then all the way back up. And if you're doing it intricately enough, you are going to take half an hour to go from the top of your head all the way down to your feet. And if any sensations, like a numbing sensation, an itch, a tingle, a pain point comes up, you bring your focus to there and you dive in. What does this feel like? Why does this come up for me? Is there a memory coming up right now associated with this feeling? What did that make me feel like? So forth and so on. This is a little bit more of an embodiment piece, but you go into that and then you witness that as you acknowledge it, that sensation subsides, and it's pretty miraculous. I think that's one of the coolest things. So that would be a really great option, because when you're held in a space, you're going to be more responsible and you're going to be more in tune with sticking it out and showing up. The other tool that I think would be highly beneficial is a rage practice, which is rage practices can look like anything that comes to your mind, because that's the beauty of your intuition. An example or two could be going to your gym. Maybe they have a punching bag. You got your headphones in, you play some crazy screaming music, and you let it rip for half an hour. And you don't stop until you're complete. And you think about all of the situations where you were repressed in your voice, where you could not speak up for yourself, where you did not stand up or protect yourself, where you did not protect someone else in your life when you knew you wanted to, or when the opportunity to protect someone was taken away from you because you weren't given the whole story. So forth and so on. Just any moment in your life where you have accumulated rage and you have not been able to express that out of your body. Another way is being in your home. If you're not comfortable with expressing that much anger in public, and going in your bedroom, locking yourself in there if you need to, put some music on if you wish, put 4 pillows in front of you, however many pillows, 1 pillow, and start beating the crap out of that pillow. Scream, yell, wail, cry, throw it, just rip it up, get gorilla, go berserk on it. How often do you get to do that? We're told that we have to be happy and polite and X, Y, and Z, or else we're going to be seen as bitchy or uncooperative or resistant or not a part of the team or X, Y, Z. You get the picture. So those I highly recommend, because Taurus is a very humble, noble sign, very loyal, and it will hold things in. It's earth, it holds. Whereas Scorpio, it is more energetic, it's water, it's waves, it can crash and kill, and it has no remorse. The most wicked aspects of nature are the most destructive, dangerous, and tumultuous. So, where in your life do you need to absolutely destroy what is current in order for something new to be born? Like death and rebirth cycle, infinite energy. And some themes could be relationship, money, your pleasure, your emotional expression. And so let's talk about an example with relationships. Say you are in a relationship, and when you started this relationship, it was really great. And now that some months have passed, a year has passed, you know this person a lot better. And regularly, not even every once in a while, like far and few in between events, regularly, you are having to meet yourself in the same battle that you have been meeting yourself in when you're in relationships. This is a tall tale sign that perhaps you came into this relationship because it was fun and exciting and new, and the chemistry and your body was turned on 10, and maybe the sex is phenomenal. But you're always upset, you're always crying, there's no boundaries, there is a lack of prioritization, and this is a 50-50 split, baby. You got 50% responsibility, and that other partner person has 50%. And if you have been communicating, hey, I need this, or these are my standards, I am changing, I'm going through evolution as a human, as I should, and this is what I would like, and this is what would make me excited about this or happy, whatever. It's not going to be the most delicious conversation. It's going to take some guts because hard conversations do not feel like a butterfly kiss on your face. That's reality. And that's what this is all about. Being realistic about our lives. Not painting this picture of what we want it to be or what we can envision it to be in the sense of other people. You have no control outside of yourself. We talk about this all the time on the podcast. If you're a listener, a regular listener, you know that. And you know that if you're not taking responsibility in your day, in your life, if you're not standing up for your needs, wants, desires, if you are not able to approach these situations and know that when you are settling for less, you are eliminating the opportunity for growth, well, then maybe you just don't have the awareness of it, of what's actually going on or what your patterns are. But this is the season to get real with your patterns, to phone a friend. Hey, do you know what, have you noticed any patterns in my relationships? This is what's going on. And you spill the tea, you share a little bit, and then you ask for reflections. This is what having safe and loving people in our lives is all about. So when you are in partnership with anyone, with yourself, if you are not sure and firm as ever in your beliefs, in what you want, in the type of person you are, for your own discernment about what is allowed to happen to you, to your body, then you need to retract, take it back, rewind the film. Because it's most likely that you're falling in a trap of a relationship that's comfortable, a relationship that has maybe helped you navigate a couple of difficult wounds in your body, but nothing extravagant because you're still compromising, and not compromising in the healthy way where it's like, oh, hey, one night we'll eat what you want and the other night we'll eat what I want, but compromising in the every single time it's like this, or every single time I want this, he does that or she does that. It's growing the backbone to be clear and learning that you're allowed to communicate with love and curiosity. Ridiculing people is not going to get to the solution of the problem. So if you're dealing with a relationship issue, you could lay it out like this. Hey, I would love to talk to you about this thing I'm noticing because I'm curious about it. Are you open to talking? Great. I've noticed that I have shifted from A to B, and it feels really good to make this shift. However, I am now noticing that us being together is a little bit tricky or challenging, or communicating with you doesn't always go the best because XYZ, this other person is still back. They're not in the growth mindset. They're content in the life they're in. And none of this is wrong. And so you go through that conversation very with a lot of love, with a lot of curiosity, and asking questions. Hey, like, why do you operate like this? Or why do you drink so much? Or why are you so hyper excessive about cleaning the house? Or why are you always asking me or yelling at me to do things? Or whatever the thing is in your relationship, of whatever kind of relationship it is. And you go down that road and you make it a very nurturing conversation. And you ultimately need to know what you want from this other person. And you have to have the nuts to say exactly what you want. And that would be the true highest essence of Scorpio, is declaring their needs, wants, desires without lying, full transparency. And instead of forcing other people to be like them or to operate like them or to act like them or to judge other people, it is, hey, you do you and I'm going to do me. And I have my standards for work, for partnership, for pleasure, for expression. And I meet these things. So I need someone in my life eventually down the road. I don't need them now, but one day I would like to have someone in a similar frequency, moving into higher frequencies, not someone who is holding you back, holding you down. And it sucks because you can be in love and nothing major could be wrong. And you know in your heart and in your soul what you need, because it's going to be, you settle for less and then you tell the universe, hey, I'm settling for this. And then you cannot possibly be open to receiving exactly what you want because you're distracted and you're focused with this other thing, with this other very quick dopamine hit. You can't focus on two things at once. It's just not possible. You can focus on one thing, one end of the stick or the other. And so that's really what it comes down to. Can you learn how to live that yin and yang energy? Can you nurture yourself and heal yourself from the past while also demanding the standards of your future? Ooh, I love that. We're going to end on that note. Is there anything else I want to say? Particularly about this eclipse? Nah, I'm good. Nah, I don't want to share anything else. That's my thoughts. That's what I'm feeling. I do highly recommend that if you are feeling sleepy, tired, you have headaches, to go get some energy out and then take a nap. So, for example, real quick, today my head hurt really badly and my training appointments got rescheduled, so I didn't have any in-person training today. At the around like 12 o'clock is when I found out, and I was like, all right, I have the rest of my day. My head really hurts. I got things done this AM. I have these things I need to do, but wow, am I just dog tired? I don't feel so good. I'm unmotivated. La la la. And instead of being unmotivated, not moving my body, not taking a shower, I got into the gym, and instead of weightlifting, which did not feel like the move for me today, I got on the bike and I rode for 5 miles, and I did it at a very sprint-like pace. I did it as fast as I could. First 2 miles, I was working at the kinks, and then the last 3 miles, I was all on. And it felt super good to be focused, honed in, music on, not looking at anything other than my legs, feeling my heart, feeling my breath, focusing. That is such a key move during this time, is to focus. We are so long, far gone from focusing in our age with all the social media. So if you are someone who is taking the time to meditate, to focus through training, to not be on their fucking phone at all times of the day, I honor you. I honor the crap out of you. I honor you. And I hope I get to meet you one day if I haven't met you, because I want to shake your hand. I want to give you a hug. I want to feel your heartbeat against my heartbeat. And that's magic. We need touch, and we need physical relation, and we need to know our standards, and we need to live by our standards, and we need to be firm in our beliefs. So that's my 2 cents. Move the energy out of your body, Scorpio. It's the infinity sign. Endless energy needs to move. And then take a nap. And then eat a delicious meal. Nourish yourself. yin and yang. I hope that you enjoyed this astrological breakdown. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'm sending a lot of love to you. Let's try to avoid defining ourselves until after the 14th. Mercury retrograde ends on the 14th of May. If you can skip contracts, skip making life or death decisions, skip the things that are just extra and require a lot of your energy and time, will be well. If you're traveling, if you're writing an email, if you are communicating with people, triple check everything. Make sure you're all clear, that you're all good to go, that all of your bases are covered, and you're set. So, lots of love to you.